Hey, welcome back YouTube. It is currently the very end of June. We're going to go through our 4 remaining hives, see what the summer's going to hold, determine if we're going to need to go ahead and feed some more and maybe introduce some pollen. Right now we're in Central Florida. The highs during the day are anywhere between 90 to 95 degrees. If you count the humidity, we're looking at about 100 plus. Also, we've been getting rain pretty much every single afternoon, which definitely will contribute to hive beetles, potential moisture into hives. So come with us while we go through the hives and we'll see what the summer holds for us. All right, so here we are at hive number 1. We'll go ahead and smoke the entrance. And a couple little things that we're seeing with this hive right now is, one, there is a lot of activity in this hive. But we do have some either wax or something down here collected at the bottom. So we're going to get in here and take a look and see exactly what's going on. So again, we just break that propolis seal on the cover. Put a little bit of smoke in there to smoke them down, so that way we can, oh, and this is gonna be a bad one. And we got hive beetles everywhere on this lid. We got maggots. And just going through it, we can tell that nothing is going to be able to be saved in this, just because you can't smell it through the video, but hive beetle larvae everywhere inside this hive. So we're not going to waste our time going through this too much. We already know it's a loss just based on the 2 frames that we pulled out. So again, if you're in a warmer climate and we are getting a lot of rain, definitely something to keep a lookout for is those hive beetles. Hopefully, because it's been about 3 weeks since we've been out here, hopefully this didn't happen to all our hives. So that concludes hive number 1. All right, so we'll smoke the entrance of hive number 2. Crack that lid, and every once in a while you get some frames sticking to your cover, so just kind of get your hive tool in there, get them broken free. So this one, a lot of hive beetles. You can tell this rain is not doing us any good, so we got quite a bit of hive beetles in here. See how our beetle traps are doing. And our beetle traps are full to the brim, so definitely going to need to shake those out or potentially buy some more. And again with this one as well, the hive beetles are running rampant. Now another thing that we're going to try this go around is we're definitely going to try to get some beetle towels in here. Some people will use Swiffers if they already own a Swiffer and buy them regularly anyway. So a Swiffer works just fine. Also, Mann Lake, we do have beetle towels that is essentially the same thing. So first and foremost, we're already looking better than hive number 1. They're drawing out these last 2 frames they're starting to work on. So that will put us at 8 frames with our 1-gallon feeder. And now that we know we have a severe hive beetle issue, we definitely want to take some precaution and inspect these hives very thoroughly, so that way we're not losing another hive. But a couple things that I'm seeing. One, they are bringing in pollen. We do have some capped brood. No eggs on this frame. And they are bringing in nectar with some capped honey. This also could be because we did give them a 1 gallon of feed a couple weeks ago. So again, pollen, capped brood, honey, and then just keep an eye out for your queen. As I've mentioned before, when you don't know where she's at, you just want to be slow and steady when you're manipulating these frames. So number 1 concern is going to be crushing your queen or rolling your queen. So I am seeing some some bee larvae down there. So we are seeing different stages. No eggs yet, and I have not seen a queen yet. And then as the bees are kind of collecting on top, you just want to smoke them down so that way you can work comfortably without stressing out the colony too much. Okay, so I am seeing some eggs on this frame, not many. And still have not spotted our queen yet. All right, again, we have some brood that was potentially hatched out just because we do have some brood in this area and scattered brood there, and then some capped honey. And I am seeing eggs on this frame, so that's a good sign. Still haven't spotted our queen, but we are seeing eggs, so we know that she's been in there in at least the last 24 hours. And then hive beetles for sure we are seeing. So we definitely need to get the yard treated, and some Swiffer pads and some new beetle traps on here. All right, so hive number 2 is not looking bad. We definitely want to learn our lesson from hive number 1, and we will get some beetle traps in here, and then also a beetle towel, so that way we can try to keep this under control. So in the meantime, I'm just going to put these traps back in there. The bees seem like they were corralling them in there all right. And you just want to kind of space them evenly throughout the hive, so that way the bees can corral them in there. We'll smoke them down, so that way when we put back on our lid, we're not taking out a lot of the population. And then just nice and easy as you put the lid back on, let them sort it out. And then again, kill all the hive beetles that you see on the outside. Now, on to hive number 4. So just, again, smoke the entrance, let them know we're coming, break that propolis seal on the cover, get your smoker, smoke them down. So this one definitely does not have as many hive beetles as hive number 2, and especially not as hive number 1. So that's a good sign to start with, but we'll never really know until we get in here. And a couple hive beetles on this frame. And it doesn't look like, well, there we go. Nothing on these last 2, but they are kind of moving over a little bit at a time. So we got honey, we got pollen, and then we got some nectar or feed. And again on the other side as well. So that's a good start. And we're not seeing any hive beetles taking hold, so that's also good news as well. I am seeing tons of eggs and larvae on this frame, along with some capped brood and some honey. In this frame, there's a lot of empty cells, no eggs in them. Well, let me correct that. Yep, there are eggs all along this frame, so that's a good sign. So we know our queen should be in here somewhere. And again, capped brood, pollen, seeing different stages of the bee's development, from the egg to the larvae to the capped brood. All right, so we're seeing a lot of good signs in this one, and not too many hive beetles like hive number 2. And looks like they are going to this frame, but not quite starting to draw it out yet. All right, so this one looks really good. A little slow, but definitely same concept. We're going to get some beetle towels in here and some beetle traps, so that way we can get ahead of this beetle before we lose all 5 of our hives to beetles. We're gonna go over to hive number 5 and see how that's doing. All right, so this one, first things that I'm seeing: 1, no bee activity. 2, we have ants crawling in and out, a little path that way. So I'm expecting not to see much when we look in here. I know it was a little dinky in the first place, waiting for it to catch up. And that is all she wrote. So, even got us a little roach in there. So we have ants all throughout the frames that were active. And there's definitely a smell coming from this one. So that concludes hive number 5. All right, so we're back here, hive number 2. We're gonna go ahead and dispose of our full beetle traps, get some new ones in there. And then we have our beetle towel that we'll lay across the top bars, so that way those beetles can get stuck in there. So all those bees on the top, again, take your smoker and we're just gonna smoke them down, so that way we're not causing any unnecessary stress that we don't need to. So we got our beetle oil here. And again, we're just filling these up halfway, preferably not over the hive, so that way we don't accidentally spill anything in there. All right, so we got one done. Put that one right there. And again, if you don't have beetle oil, any kind of food safe oil will work. Canola oil, olive oil, anything like that will work. And then either your beetle towel or a Swiffer. And we're just gonna lay that right across the top bars. Again, that will just help out to catch all the beetles that maybe do not get corralled into these beetle traps. So we'll just lay that right there in between our beetle traps. Hopefully that will give us a wide area to combat those. So again, what we're gonna do is we're going to check on this at this point in the season once a week, just because we know that we are having a beetle issue. We lost hive number 3 the very beginning of the season to beetles and wax moths, and we've kind of sustained up until now. And now we lost hive number 1. Hive number 5, not so much hive beetles, not what it looked like. Definitely ants for sure. It could have been that they just swarmed. They just didn't like the habitat that we had for them. So now we're going to go ahead and check on these once a week. Change our beetle traps as necessary, or at least change the oil in the beetle traps, and then dispose of our beetle towel and replace that once a week until we get this under control. Rainy season in Florida is pretty much from June, July on up until August, September time frame, which just so happens to coincide with hurricane season. So that's kind of our prescription for this hive is check weekly, change beetle oil as needed, and then change the beetle towel weekly as well. These ones are drawing out. We got 2 more frames left for them to draw out. Their feeder is empty, but I did see plenty of stores in there, so we're not too worried right now. The main thing that we're really concerned about is just getting these hive beetles under control. So I'm just going to shake some of these bees off the lid, so that way we can smoke them down, so that way we can limit any bees or anything getting stuck in that. So just a nice little tap with that. And again, smoke them down, so that way we can limit as much stress as possible on the hive. So there's hive number 2 done. And now we're just going to move on over to hive number 4 and get that going. So same thing, hive number 4, we're going to do this the same way. Smoke our bees down. And fill our beetle traps up about halfway, making sure not to do it over the hive, just in case we have an accident and spill more than we need to. So if you're having a hard time getting your beetle trap in there, that's where your hive tool is going to come in handy. So you can spread those out just a touch. And then beetle towel right here in the middle, just like hive number 2. We don't really want to block the entrances to these beetle traps, or else they won't be able to corral them in there. So spread them out as necessary. And again, just do your best to take precaution. And then, I mean, we can see all the hive beetles up here. So we're just going to go ahead and gently set this on there. And hopefully the bees can get them into those traps or they'll get stuck in that towel. So again, beetle traps, beetle towel, no feed in here, but we really want to get these bees under control until before we add anything else, especially a pollen patty or any kind of dry pollen to this hive. Now, if you have a bird feeder or anything like that you want to put dry pollen in, you can definitely do that. Put it away from your bee yard so that way the bees can go forage for it. But you don't want to add anything into this hive, especially right now with all the stressors that we're dealing with. That could potentially add more issues. So again, we're going to check back in a week. We'll change our beetle traps, and then we will change our beetle towels, and we'll go from there. All right, so end of June. It's been about 3 weeks since we've been out here. Tons of rain, tons of heat, tons of humidity. As we can tell through we started with 5, and now there was 2. So we're down to hive number 2, hive number 4, hive number 1, taken out by hive beetles. With all the rain and moisture, it's just, and we kind of got our bee yard sitting right here in the shade as well. So it could be expected. Obviously, that's just learning and knowing that you need to be in your hives once a week, once every week and a half, so that way you can catch this stuff before it starts to balloon out of control, and that way you could potentially save your hive. Especially as a new beekeeper, anyone who's ever purchased a nucleus colony or a package, you know that it can be a little expensive, especially for a startup with something that you don't know exactly what you're doing, and you're just going to learn your way through it. So started with 5 nukes. Hive number 5 we didn't touch, we didn't do anything with. We lost our queen. Last hive inspection we saw, we did put a new queen in there. She was taking pretty good. But then that rain started and the hive beetles just kind of moved in and took over. So we had that issue. Hive number 1 was doing really well for a while. And now, as you can see today, those hive beetles came in and they just took over. And sometimes there's nothing really that you can do about it, especially when you don't go out there regularly like you should be doing. So we started with 5, we're down to hive number 2, hive number 4. So we're just going to spend a lot of extra time making sure that these ones are good to go, making sure that we can hopefully get some sort of honey by the end of the year, especially come our fall flow. Also, these hives that were taken over by hive beetles, not a complete loss per se. We can still scrape that wax off those combs, put it in our bucket. Then at the end of the season, we'll boil all that down, get all that gunk and dead hive beetle larvae and dead hive beetles and bees out of that. So that way we can still process that to make, wax candles, use the wax for next season, be able to wax our frames. So that concludes this month's hive inspection. Again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned till next time.